Hello, I'm Julia Cordova. Thank you so much for subscribing to my YouTube channel and liking my videos. I really appreciate it. It makes me feel super good to know that I am helping people, and I appreciate you. Thank you. So today I'm going to talk charts, but I also wanted to talk about timing the market. Last week, a lot of people thought that the market was going to crash. Really, guys? Really? And I mean, it certainly could have, but a lot of times, whenever the vast majority of people are talking about something happening, it doesn't actually happen, because that would allow a lot of people to make a lot of money, and it just doesn't work that way. It's not that easy. Timing the market is a fool's game, and a lot of traders are fools, but you want to strike a balance between listening to what's going on around you, knowing the giant macro context of where we are, if you will, but also not trying to be comforted by being in the majority, because unfortunately, when there's any great majority of people that feel a certain way, it just doesn't happen. That's why I like to follow and listen to and really understand and absorb a lot of different people that think differently than I do, so that I can maintain my edge, so to speak. And my edge in particular is trying to understand the overall sentiment of the market and being able to coordinate that with price lines and RSI lines. So let's talk markets. All right. So the weekly of ES is looking very bull flaggy, is it not? It's even looking better than it did right here. And remember, I talked about this candle. I was like, if you think that's bearish, go back and check this candle out. Look at it. It's even doing something really similar, isn't it? We had a big green candle right after an inverted red hammer. It's sort of suspicious. Anyway, these are the pivots, the weekly pivots that I'm looking at. Really, from a weekly perspective, above 3041, still super duper duper bullish. It's even bullish above 2952 from a weekly perspective. But let's look at the RSI, also making a bull flag, but there is some resistance here. So even though I don't have price resistance here, I am a little bit weary. The thing that the market could do this week, I think, that would confuse and potentially irritate most traders would be to just have sort of a doji week where it didn't really do anything or go anywhere, just kind of around, and that, I think that would be the most irritating thing. So that's a possibility. Let's look at the daily. Yeah, so similarly, I don't have an imminent RSI resistance here, although I could maybe add another line. Why not? Let's do it. I just thought of that just now. It's not like I don't think about it ahead of time. All right, here we go. No, that's just, wow, look how well, you know what? It's now going to seem like I did that on purpose, like, oh, but I really did just do that. Wow, that's like look at that. Anyway, I don't have an imminent RSI resistance, but I do have an imminent price resistance here. So this blue line has served us well as of late, and you can see this is the whole last week. Look at that. It was just like zoom, zoom, zoom. I did start shorting on Thursday into Friday, and I accidentally, and this was an accident actually, I accidentally kept a little more of the short than I wanted to keep over the weekend. So I don't know if I'm going to skedaddle out of there or not. And what I've been doing lately is when I go long, I've been going long ES or SPX futures, because I mean, it's my bread and butter. I understand it. I don't think it's overextended. It looks nice to me. When I've been shorting the small caps, because those look very overextended to me. So why haven't I been shorting NASDAQ? Because even though that's like the biggest, like that's all-time highs, yada yada, it's because I don't yet I haven't yet seen something that would look super toppy, like overall toppy. If I see something that looks overall toppy, my butt gonna go right to the NASDAQ futures and short the bejesus out of it, because that will be where all the money will come from. But for now, I've sort of stayed away from that because it's really strong. It's really strong. And, again, I'm known for like doing bold, what seems like really risky things. I'm not like that. I just take really good measured risks, and I don't share things with people unless they are. So I'm going to say that if we can get above this 31, 32 level, at least that's what the level is on Monday, Sunday night / Monday, then, and I mean, particularly if we can close above it, but, I'll turn around and get a little more bullish, because it's just, now this is technically, I know it's not a bull flag, guys, because I know it didn't come down here, but I draw triangles sometimes as bull flags, and here's why. Because I used to draw pennants, and as soon as it broke out of the pennant, I'm like short, and then it was really hard for me after that to change my bias back to long. So I like to go ahead and think of it as a flag, because if it had gotten all the way down to this 2,900, I would have been like ready to buy, and it didn't do that. And what would be bearish, however, would be if it gets back below this musical note line of about 30, I'm going to say 3060-ish. That would be bearish for me, because that would be a false, that would say that was a false breakout. Now, it's difficult for me to be super bearish yet, because there's still too many people that are. So my initial, what would screw the most people was that it would come down here, and that was smart of me. And then I said it would go back up. Now this candle is actually incorrect on investing.com. I don't know why it did that, but because this candle didn't actually look like that. But anyway, so it hasn't reached, it's making me look genius though, it hasn't reached this finish line again yet. And what I'm hoping happens is like it gets to the finish line, maybe it goes a little bit more, maybe it, I don't know how far it'll go, but I want it to get far enough where everybody, like the bulls, the bears, everybody's like, well, going to all-time highs. So the bears, they start getting, patient, and they're just like, ah, man, and the bulls are just like, and then I'm going to like a Jedi. I'm going to scale into shorts against all, and it's not going to be smart, right? I mean, I might say I'm doing it, because I don't want to not say if I'm doing it, but it's not going to be a responsible thing, because you should probably wait for confirmation or resistance or blah blah blah. But it's just going to be too appealing to me, because that would really be the time when it would screw the most people. But in the meantime, I'm just playing level to level. I've exited already most of my investment longs, and I'm going to look like a gigantic jerk if it gets to 3,600. I get it. I'm fine with that. That's okay, because I just really said you should exercise some hedges and skadoot just a little bit, out a little bit. Anyway, it's almost back to where it was. Let's see. We're at 3115 versus about 3,200 or so when I was like, no. Anyway, I would, in fact, like to see another test of this finish line at the very minimum, and then I'd like it really to go higher. So, I'm patient. I can wait for that. But in the meantime, if it goes back below this musical note line, I will short the crap out of it and just go level to level like a normal. And I'm actually really glad that I drew in this dotted RSI line, because remember I said at first I thought it looked like divergence. Somebody else actually said to me, oh, there's divergence, and I was like, no, there actually isn't. But I did that dotted because I knew a lot of people would think that, and that actually helped me to be super bullish for this past week, because I was like, oh, I bet a lot of people will think that, even though it wasn't. And it wasn't. That was good. Okay. So let's talk about gold. You know what? I would just made a joke out of it that last week I was like bullish, and it was. It ended higher than it was when I said that. But I went ahead and went searching for some lines, and I found these two pink lines from way back when I was getting a little lazy in my gold analysis because it's just sitting in my investment account. Because I'm like, I can't time this, and it was a bunch of crappy chop. Like, I know there was lots of people trading this. That would have irritated the crap out of me. I know that's like bread and butter for some people. It just irritates me. I don't like it. I like trends. Trends. Did I just start dancing? I did. Okay. Anyway, I took the slope of lines that I had way back when, and I applied them here. And look at that. I was very proud of myself. I wish I had done it live because it would have made my lines look great. But here we go. What is happening? Oops. Got rid of my RSI. There we go. So I took that slope, I moved it over here, and look what happened. It did a perfect back test of it this week. So maybe I shouldn't have been lazy last week. Maybe I should have done this last week. I probably should have. But one thing that it hasn't done so far, and so that's the thing, right? So now it's in an upward channel. So now if it gets below, what I'd like to see happen is, first of all, I'd like to see a test of this upper part of the pink channel. But secondly, I'd like it to get enough above this last pink breakout line, which is 1753.40. I'd like it to get enough above that, where in this channel, where if it breaks out of a channel, the measured move is the height of the channel. You've probably heard that. So I'd like it to get far enough out of the range of 1753 that if it breaks the channel, that would be, I'm lazy. I should have measured it for you. Maybe I'll do that on Twitter. But maybe it looks like about here if I'm just eyeballing it, which is about 1826 or so. If it gets to 1826 or so before it breaks this dotted pink line, then it can have a beautiful back test of the 1753 and everything is good for bulls. It's still okay. If it breaks out of this pink channel before 1853 or whatever I said, now I'm going to have to look it up later, then I'm going to be worried. Any close below this 1753 before, or that's going to look very bearish to me. All of this consolidation should yield very much more uppage here. And if it doesn't, that would be a false breakout, and that would be extraordinarily bearish. So I'm looking for it not to exit this pink channel before 1853. If it does, this 1753 better freaking hold, or else. Okay, let's talk about silver. Silver has done absolutely nothing. Now, somebody, I saw another trader call this a false breakout. They weren't talking about my lines, they were talking about their own. I don't see it as a false breakout yet. It back tested the key really well here, held the key. I said it would make me more comfortable if it closed closer to the rocket line, which is about 1854 still. It's just still consolidating, which is super annoying. But just like with gold, the more it consolidates, the bigger the move. And my bias is still towards the upside. Even though it does look a little false breakouty in RSI, it does look a little false breakouty in the rocket line. It usually, if it's a false breakout, it tanks. It tanks. And it didn't tank yet. I have seen no tankage. If it tankages below the key line, then I'm going to start to get concerned. I'm going to be a lot concerned, but maybe not, because then I'll short it. But the worst thing that can happen is these magnet lines. These magnet lines are the long-term, like, this is these are big deals. So it could get below the key. It could come back here and really irritate us. But if it got below the magnet lines, I'm gonna short the crap out of it. Like, oh, bazookas, short, 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 short. For now, it's just annoying consolidation that's meant to, I don't know how many, like, option stuff. It's just meant to, like, screw people in all directions. Look at how it's screwing people. It's just doing nothing. All right, I'll keep you updated. Crude, you know, I was getting a little bearish last week, but I still didn't trade it. It's doing nothing. There's no weekly here. I don't see, you know, it did break out of the RSI. So if it breaks back below the RSI, I think that would be finally bearish. But I'm not gleaning a lot of insight from this weekly chart. I was looking at it before the video. I was like, can I say something valuable? Can I make myself look smart? No, I cannot. Not based on the weekly. Let's look at the other ones. You see that I have a coffee because I am cheating on my commodities, guys. I have been doing a little bit of coffee catching lately, and so maybe I'll share my coffee chart on Twitter. I like it a lot. Okay, but I won't do that here right now. Anyway, 4-hour oil. I made a new little mini key thing here because I do believe, and I added another line because I didn't want to be lazy. I didn't want to, like I have been with gold. So I'm going to say that if we're going to get a McSqueeze, we are going to get a McSqueezy, I think. You can see it's perfectly just been rejected from this RSI resistance thus far. So if it does get above what I think is going to match up, I'd have to see, I have to watch it in real time because it doesn't always perfectly match up. But if it gets to, the key looks like it probably will, I don't know which one will happen first. But I do think that if we get above this 4161, we'll get a squeeze to this pink line here. I don't know. I hate putting markers. I don't know how other traders do that. I really don't. Like, I'm not an idiot, but like, how do you know where it's going to hit on the line to put, I mean, I just guess, right? I'm guessing. They're guessing, right? I don't know. I hate that. That's why I have to look at my stuff in real time. I hate that. Anyway, if it gets back above this 4161, which is the previous high, it's not rocket science. We don't even need all these lines. But anyway, if it gets above that, it'll probably squeeze up. And I would expect it to hit this dotted pink line. But I would also have to see where it was in RSI as well. The best McSqueezes come from both breakouts in both price and RSI at the same time. Okay, now let's look at natural gas. You know what's frustrating about natural gas is when you look at it after the fact, it looks like it makes sense, but while it's happening, it never appears to be making sense. Because last week I said that if it gets if it gotten above this ambulance line, that's a false breakdown and that's very bullish. And look what happened. It got pretty much above the ambulance line, right, basically on open, and then it was just, now it's flagging, right? It's bull flagging, and it even did a perfect back test of the key on Thursday, I think, on Thursday. So it even did a perfect back test of the key. I mean, like, really perfect. Like, makes me look smart and stuff. But, you know, I mean, natural gas is very hard to trade, and I still don't know that we're in some huge uptrend. I still am very suspicious. Like, a lot of people, when they caught that oil bottom, it did look like they caught it at first. I'm still just very suspicious. I'm suspicious. I don't know, but it looks good for longs as long as it stays above this key level, which is 1.675. It still looks good to me, and it could still get to 1.647 and still be within a flag. You see how that works? I mean, if you look at this, look at that. The slope here looks like it extends. Let's see. Oh, it's so annoying. I'm trying to move these lines, and because they're so old, unless I zoom out, I was trying to do it live for you. See, I don't rehearse, or I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, here, same thing. There we go. Oh, there we go. Okay, let's look. Is that where I want to put that? At least you're gleaning to how I do this. Let's see. I'm just trying to figure out a good slope for a flag. That's what oh, look at that. Yeah, but you know, does that count because it's not up there? I don't know. I was just trying to figure out a good slope for a flag, because if we could find that, then we could find how low it can go and still be bullish. Yeah, and I would put that right about there. Let's see if that makes sense. Is it doing something? I don't know. Oh, I don't know. Well, instead of drawing a line, then we'll just squint. And maybe I'll work on that after the video. I was not prepared, and just try to figure out how low it can go and still be bullish. I'm going to say for right now, 1.647-ish. Below that looks pretty shortable. And at that, you can see also that if it gets below that, right now that's already where this MA is. So the MA was going to get either higher or lower, but if it gets below that, I'm not going to be happy. And it is at RSI resistance. It closed exactly at RSI resistance on Friday, whenever futures closed, at 1 o'clock. So we'll have to see. I don't know. It's like a bucking bronco. It's a bucking bronco. I shorted it a little bit this week, and then I was like, I skidded it out of there. And I do have a long position in my investment account that I haven't touched. But it's just like, wah, wah. It's one of those that, like, I'm ashamed of it a little bit. It's just wah, wah right now. So anyway, that's what's going on with Natty. If I think of anything smart to say, I'll say it on Twitter. And I hope you are having a oh, I gotta make it big. I hope you are having a fantastic weekend. Happy 4th of July to those who celebrate it. Happy Canada Day. You know, in hindsight, we can have the whole week. We can celebrate the whole week, right? Leftovers, stuff like that. Anyway, hope you're having a fantastic week, and I will see you on the interwebs. Okay,